All right, what it is,
What it do
we are.
on the real.
Right now we're going to talk about what's been going on the news, the looting, the rioting, the protesting.
It's amazing how much can happen in what, it's been like 2 weeks since we did the last recording?
Oh no, it's been longer than that.
It's been longer than that?
Yeah.
Oh wow. So it's been 3 weeks. It's been less than a month.
I can say we've pretty much been out the whole month of May, except for the first week of May.
Okay.
But we both had some personal losses, personal tragedies.
Yeah.
And May was just not a good month.
It wasn't.
So
this year hasn't been a good year, so to speak.
That's
It's been
true.
a crazy year, man.
Yes.
What do you guys think about all this looting and rioting and protesting? It's like, whew.
I guess this is where the video gets controversial and we get on the real with some of these topics.
Let's talk about it. We can't talk about it here. What can we talk about it?
Right.
All right.
So keep your comments respectful, but
Please.
you know, we're just two average guys talking about it. So where should we start? What do you think?
Oh man, I don't even know where to start. Like this whole situation. Like, let's start. I guess we should start from how we even got here, because it's ironic because before all of this happened, we were all in quarantine. You know, everybody was focused on a pandemic.
Right.
And if you guys notice, nobody's been talking about the pandemic no more.
Poof.
It's just like disappeared. So now everything is on rioting, everything is on looting. So it's, you know, it's unfortunate, very unfortunate what happened to George Floyd. And it just sparked a whole. I mean, it was just so much. I mean, I'm kind of a sociologist, so I can say the fact that people were inside their homes for 3 months and not being able to do anything, the fact that happened, this just, it was a time bomb.
It was. We were a powder keg, because I was going to bring that up. It is a psychological fact that human beings need socialization. So with being locked down 3 months of nowhere to go because everything's closed, can't go to work, I think one of the reasons the protesting continues is because people just want to be around people. I mean,
wow, that's deep.
Yeah,
that's pretty deep. Yeah, because socialization, like you said, is very important. I mean, think about it. If you were just consider yourself born and you wasn't around people, and then 20 years later you're all around people, you won't even know how to act around these people. So it's very important, and it's just, you know, we've learned. I think we all learned to appreciate things when we don't have it. It's almost like the classic saying, "You don't know what you got until it's gone." So
one of the things that bothers me about this whole thing is how it's being politicized. But hey, it's election year. I guess that's what they do. Try to keep the people separated. Try to keep everybody at each other, and take advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
One thing that bothers me is that here's where the controversy is going to come in.
Oh, it's a lot of controversy.
So there's a lot of blame put on the president. However, the president has been in office for almost 4 years, but these types of incidences of police brutality and excessive force have been going on for decades. Police reform has been needed for decades, and nothing has been done. And you can't just blame that on one person. You can't just blame that on one political party.
Yeah.
It's both parties' fault. It's everybody. I don't know.
I agree with you. You can't just blame it on one person. I think the controversy of what comes on with the president is that when he came in office, it just seemed like it was almost a spiral effect as far as the negative things happening. And again, it's not to say that it was solely his fault, but it's almost like to say if I was a supervisor or I take this huge position and I'm controlling the free world, and it's like if something happens, if it hasn't been happening before and now all of a sudden it seems to be happening, some people are going to be blaming it on me. Probably a lot of people will be blaming it on me, especially the way the society is structured. Let's just be real. A lot of people don't like Donald Trump, okay? And then a lot of people didn't like Obama. So it's definitely a lot going on with race.
And that goes back to the media playing people against each other.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, if I have I'm conservative. I have a bunch of friends that are liberal. We can have a conversation and not fight about it.
Yeah.
The reality is most people are in the middle and they lean to the right or they lean to the left, but the media polarizes everything and makes you say it's like, oh, it's this way or you know, you're for or against us. That's it. There's two choices. There's no gray area.
There's no in between.
Yeah.
You said it. I think you really hit. I think that really pretty much sums it up. We are being controlled by the media. The media dictates everything.
We're all guilty for it. I fall for it. I know I do.
I fell for it. I try to be more conscious now, and one of the ways I do that is try not to look at too much of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's I love Facebook. I love the positive messages and things like that, but Facebook to me and a lot of these social media platforms can be a little depressing after a time, especially right now. If you notice, there's not a lot of people on social media posting up, oh, I'm happy, let's travel, let's do this, let's come together. Everything is negative, race, negative, kill, drama. So it's like, you know, that when you let that spirit into your soul, it ultimately breaks you down. Yep. So I think it's only so much of that we should take.
Absolutely. The other thing I kind of wanted to address is police reform. It's like, well, what do we do? And I was thinking about that. I was like, what do we do? What can you do? And I had a few ideas. And so here's my ideas on what they could start doing as far as police reform. One, I think all police should start out being a corrections officer or working in corrections. And here's why. So think about this. Any normal job, you start at the bottom, you work your way up, and then eventually you're given authority, put in charge over other people. You have authority and power over other people. It takes a while to get there. Now that's not saying that once you get there, you're a good leader, because we've all had that boss that's an asshole. Some people just aren't good with other people.
Yeah.
But we all have also had supervisors and bosses that we appreciate and that we like.
Right.
So think about the occupation of law enforcement. Straight out of the academy, you could be, what's the minimum age for being a cop? 21?
21.
Still a young kid, and you are automatically put in the position of power and authority over other people. So think about that jerk boss that spent years to get where they're at. Imagine what they were like when they were a young punk starting with the company. And here they are, it's these same type of people that are automatically given authority and power over other people.
That's good.
And that's a power trip.
Yeah.
They don't.
It's a discipline.
Right.
You need to be disciplined.
They don't teach you and I speak from experience. I was 6.5 years as a correctional officer. During Lovelock Correctional Center. During that time, I don't remember how long. It was around a year, maybe less, maybe over. But I was also a reserve deputy sheriff.
Oh, wow.
Which, yeah, they call them rent-a-cops and whatever, but they do train you. You do wear a badge. You do carry a gun. The only difference is you don't go out on your own. You're always, paired with another officer.
Okay.
So, everyone should start in corrections as far as police officers, because it is two different worlds. The corrections world and what we call them street cops world. In corrections, you know, everybody has done something. They're guilty, they're convicted, they're in there. As a street cop, you don't know. But here's the thing that you need to remember, and people don't understand. You have to treat inmates with respect as a human being. You have to have their respect. If you think you can just work as a correctional officer and treat them however you want to treat them and you don't need their respect, you're going to have a very hard job.
So you have to.
Yes.
But what about the correctional officers that don't?
They have a very hard job. They go to work, they hate life, they just have a bad demeanor, always in a bad mood, always, we call them knuckle draggers. They call the people that think and were trained the way I was trained, softies or whatever. But it's just, it's an uphill battle all the way. So here's what a mentor told me when I first started working corrections. He worked in the hole. He said, you treat everybody as a man with respect, because There's no judging. It's not your job to judge, no matter what they did.
That's what's up.
Everybody in here, or you're no different than anybody in here. The only difference between us and the people that are incarcerated is they got caught. We've all made bad decisions in our life.
Wow.
We've all been
That's good.
stupid in our youth.
That's good. I like that.
Me personally, I screwed up a lot. My blessing was I was in the Navy. It was handled in-house. I had non-judicial punishment, captain's mast, twice. If I was a civilian doing the stupid stuff I did, who knows what had happened.
Wow.
And so that's what street cops don't understand. You see it all the time. And I'm not saying all of them. I'm just saying, you know, ones without people skills. We all work with people that have people skills and people that don't have people skills.
Yeah.
The ones that don't, they think because of the badge they're better than you.
Right.
They don't have to treat you with respect or treat you as a human being.
Right. Man, that definitely put things in perspective. What do you think about, and just so we're clear, I'm by far like the person to throw the race card, okay? We're having a conversation about this, but coming up from Chicago, it's very segregated to where I am now in Nevada. And I'm saying all that to say that being in a city like that, it's almost like you're bred to hate on another ethnic group.
Yes.
And I'm particularly talking about whites and blacks. And I'm saying where I'm going with this is that it's almost as some cops, and I'll say white cops, become cops so they can have this authority over blacks. Where it's almost like like a safari, like, we're going to go and hunt some Negroes, like, you know what I'm saying? We can't just go in their neighborhood and do it and get away with it, but if we get this badge, we can hide behind this badge and do it. Exactly. And I know there's a lot of good cops out there, and I know there's a lot of bad cops out there. So this is to the bad cops, like, this is, like, reconsider that, like, that's not cool, So it's just a lot with this, you know what I'm saying? And you have a really good point as far as in the discipline, and I think that's a great idea. I think every cop should go through a preliminary training, so to speak, where they're like a probation or they're a correctional officer, so they can learn discipline, so they can learn how to be humble.
Right, and now just know that doesn't weed them all out.
Yeah,
because there are plenty of what we call knuckle draggers or racist, bad correctional officers or jailers. But it does help to enlighten and teach regular people that don't have that hate in their heart.
I think that's what it boils down to. It's just not enough discipline. It's too much. They're too free. They have too much. It's almost like, I like to use this as an example. It's almost like superheroes. So just think of what the world would be like if there were nothing, if everybody was superheroes. The world would be in shackles, because, you know what I'm saying? Or not even that, not even the whole world, but just a vast majority. Let's just say 25% of the population was superheroes. How many of that 25% you think is really going to abuse that authority?
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of what I think about this. People are just, it's a lot of power. And we all seen it. We've all seen it. You ever been at a light, or you were driving, you were at a red light, and you just seen a cop put his sirens on and just go? And he was just right there. And you know he wasn't chasing that light.
And so getting back to that, because that's the other thing about reform, they need accountability. More so than what there is, because lately it seems like there's none.
Guess he's getting himself some cookies. I got a new puppy. He needs reform. Excuse me, guys.
All right, so I'm gonna keep going with what I. So, lost my train of thought. Accountability. So think about it. If you or me went out there and kneeled on some guy's neck until he stopped breathing and died, and there were witnesses and there was cameras, we would go to jail that day, that instant, as soon as the police arrived. Here, they don't arrest the guy until, 3-4 days later?
Yeah.
And then the ones standing around that were aiding and abetting, they didn't get arrested until a week or so later.
Wow.
And they wonder why people are rioting because the justice system doesn't work fast enough. It's because it doesn't. Due process starts from the time you're arrested, and then you're innocent until proven guilty. Not, we're going to hold off until we have an airtight case, and then we'll arrest one guy, and then later on arrest his accomplices.
Right.
So they need to get rid of that. I don't know what you call it, the police card, the blue line privilege card. I don't know what it is.
Something.
And I mean, you can say it's white privilege. The problem is this whole thing is under the guise of race when it's really more about class and police statism, or whatever you want to call it. There were 4 officers. One was white, one was Asian, one was Blaxican. I don't know what the other guy was. So it's not like all 4 officers were white this time, but they were all 4 supporting each other in the murdering this guy.
Man.
No accountability.
It has to be accountability. It has to be accountability. These law enforcement agencies, police around the world, you got to be held accountable for this. I think if we haven't learned anything from this, is to be more structured and to discipline these police officers.
Yes.
Discipline, and yeah, they need structure.
And that
It's too much power, too much loose authority.
that leads me to this last thing, which might sound controversial, but you know I'm not racist. What I'm saying comes from the heart, and so if it comes out sounding wrong, you just let me know.
No, it's all good. We can talk about it.
Where has the NAACP been in police reform these past 50 years? Because protesting, peaceful or let's just say peaceful protesting, marching, doesn't really change anything. Kneeling at a football game doesn't change anything. You want to change stuff and change the law, you have to get numbers of people united with a purpose. Then you have power. There's power in numbers. You have voting power. You have power of where you put your money. That's where change comes from. NAACP has the power. They have the money. They have the numbers. Why aren't petitions been put out? Why aren't bill proposals been put out?
And you're mentioning them because it's an organization. Because I know you said something about if people come together as a group.
Well, I was trying to think of a way, because the way you change stuff is with numbers. Any job you have, if you want a union, you want collective bargaining, you have to get numbers. You have to get members. I call out the NAACP because they're already in existence for 50 plus years. They've already enacted change in other areas.
Absolutely.
They have the power. They have the numbers.
Right.
Why haven't they done anything to address police
that's
brutality? This is something that should have been addressed in '92.
This is a question to pose, and if you're part of the NAACP, feel free to comment on this. And I mean, some people may not even know what the organization is.
Right.
It started with the civil rights movement, and that's about as more detail as I can get into it. They're all about supporting to make sure that we are equal, and we're talking with black folks, colored people, Hispanics as well. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, and I don't mean to put it all out on them. I just try to think of what is the biggest organization that could enact the most amount of change. I mean, BLM is not that big as them. Black Panther Party, if they're still around, I don't see them being as big or having the power in matters of law.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, is it coming off?
No, it's not. Because everybody, you have your opinion and you've seen it. I'm sure you've done your research. I don't know. Like, I don't watch so much news, so I don't know if the NAACP.
Yeah.
if they were involved, if they've been doing anything, I don't know that. I haven't seen it on the time that I've been watching the news, but maybe they have. So I'm not going to say that. But we will leave this open to you guys. So if you know, and if you're part of the NAACP, please feel free to let us know so you can answer his question.
Right.
Okay. We have to come together collectively, though. And I mean, that's something we need to do anyway. But not just even as black people, as a nation.
Yes.
We all need to come together. What are we really fighting for, y'all? Why are we hating on each other? Why? What are we accomplishing? We bleed the same blood. We spend the same money that's green. We all live in a house. We all put our pants up one leg at a time. So what's the big deal? I don't get it.
I saw a post from a Jerusalem news source that said other countries are celebrating the collapse of the United States.
Wow.
Because we're tearing ourselves apart from the inside. No other country has the power to beat us.
Wow.
The only way they could win is if we fall from the inside.
Wow.
So
now that's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep. And this is historical. Let me just acknowledge that. And not in a good way, so to speak, either. But there's kids they don't even know what's going on.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I'm between 40 and 50, and these years of me being on this earth, I've never seen this stuff happen. And I'm sure a lot of you guys haven't. But it's like it's going on. It's almost like we're living a movie. The movies that we watch, we are living now. Race war. Did you hear about I know like cities like Chicago, but they're having like race war, literally. Like it's flyers where they're saying Hispanics are battling blacks. And they're literally like killing. There's been people who've been killed.
Wow.
So now I have to talk to my son to tell him to be careful because of your skin or not to go into this neighborhood. It's not even called for. Like what is really being accomplished here?
Now let's bring back the late 80s and the 90s with the gang wars.
Yeah.
Can't go down that neighborhood.
Yep.
Don't wear that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. You guys, we'd like to hear from you. You know, the quarantine is over in some states. We're in Nevada. They're opening up the casinos
Yes,
as of today.
Yes, sir.
You know, so
Come back to Vegas.
Yeah, come on back.
So.
Yeah.
All right, let us know what you think. Be respectful.
Absolutely. Please be respectful. Subscribe, like, and share.
Yes. We are
on the real.